Hi, my name's Michaela. This is my literary podcast. And today I want to talk about the original Wonderful Wizard of Oz book written by Frank Baum. I'm not sure how to say his last name. But it was published in 1900. I'm showing that's like when it was originally published. But I also wanted to compare it to the MGM's version of The Wizard of Oz, the film that came out in 1939. But I have notes here. But back to the novel. So the original novel, I felt like the main message of the novel. I never read the novel before. It's my first time. But I felt like the main message was finding power within yourself. And I'll touch on this later, but I feel like the message of the novel is different than the movie. That's just how I felt. But so yeah, the claim, the message I felt like was finding power within yourself. The power is within you. You have to believe in yourself though to be able to bring this power out. And there's a few passages that I feel captures that moment. One that stood out to me was on page 85 of the ebook. I'm not sure if it's different for the physical, but page 85. This is a scene where the lion and the wizard are talking. They already like kind of know the wizard is a fraud. But okay, so let me just say the passage. Well, Oz answered, if it were inside you, it would be courage. Courage is always inside one. So this really cannot be called courage until you have swallowed it. Therefore, I advise you to drink it as soon as possible. The lion hesitated no longer and drank till the dish was empty. How do you feel now? Asked Oz. Full of courage, replied the lion, who went joyfully back to his friends to tell him of this good fortune. So this scene in particular, it was like Oz just like, let me make a potion, let me make a courage potion, it'll give you courage. But he's kind of like saying like courage is already inside you. And then in the movie it was a little different. In the movie it was the wizard giving them like physical objects, like here's a heart, here's a diploma, like that kind of thing. And then this book was published dead in the middle of the golden age of children's literature, which, let me give you the exact dates of children's literature. This was between the years of the 1860s to 1920s, was what's considered the golden age of children's literature. And there's a few different, I don't know how to put it. There's a few different like themes, I guess is the best way to say it, of books that are like published during that time, which is like the fantasy world, children being like the main protagonists, also like children not having their parents, but like children, like the children's parents are never in the book, or if it's like mentioned slightly. And especially in like The Wizard of Oz, like she doesn't have parents. She has like the parental figures, like her uncle and aunt, but they're like barely touched on. I don't even think they say anything in the book. I feel like sorry, it's been a couple weeks since I read it, but I think like the first chapter, Dorothy was like, oh my god, there's a storm coming, I gotta go. And like there wasn't any, I don't even think she like talked to her aunt at all. The uncle is like not even mentioned, but she just talks about living with her aunt and uncle. The secondary world plot, she goes into the land of Oz. And then there like the supernatural and whimsical elements is another huge thing that is a part of the golden age of children's literature. So things that aren't in this reality. So things that are of a different reality, such as like the munchkins, flying monkeys, the witches, like everything. um and then another thing is like visual storytelling, so like illustrations. There's not none of that in this particular book, but that's like another theme that is in children's golden the golden age of children's literature. And another thing is one last thing is the idea of children being innocent. They aren't really and by that, like, it means they never have dealt with like a adult situation, like love, or um having their own kids. Like, I'm trying to think of some examples, but they're innocent. Dorothy is 15 years old, I believe. I think in the movie she's 15, but I think they also say that in the book. She's young. She hasn't lived a lot of life. She is very pure. She has pure ideas. She's not corrupted by the reality that she's a part of. And yeah, and then going to the adaptation of The Wizard of Oz from the novel to the movie. Like I said before, I think the message is different. I think that the message for the movie, and I didn't really like realize it until, because I had seen the movie when I was younger, but I didn't realize it until I rewatched it. I'm like, oh, the message is kind of like different than the novel. The message I feel like in the movie is there's no place like home. Home is where, home is everything. It's your safe place. And I feel like we kind of saw that in the movie. Like, the movie focuses more on like Dorothy getting home. It's the journey home. And I felt like the novel focused more on finding like individual power between like all the characters. I felt like in the movie the characters getting like courage and knowledge and love, I felt like that was kind of like a backseat in the movie. But yeah, I feel like the scene where it's like, there's no place like home, there's no place like home. She's chanting it, she's saying it over and over. And I feel like when you repeat something like that, the the director, the person who made the movie, that's what they want you to focus on. They say, there's no place like home, there's no place like home. So I feel like that was the like the main message. I think that was like the main sort of difference in the movie. But I should have said this before I went on that tangent, but there are four strategies of adaptation. There's substitution, expansion slash addition, subtraction, distillation slash compression. And I felt like a lot of the book was in the movie, but it was how it was shot, it was how it was written, was a little bit different. The main thing, which I think is gonna be like addition slash expansion and maybe distillation a little bit, is the singing. It kind of changed the whole tone, I feel like. Where I felt like the book was a little bit more serious, I feel like the movie was a little bit more whimsical. It was a little bit more like, oh, this is fun to watch. The singing it made me feel hopeful. Like when I hear like singing, it's like, oh, okay, this is hopeful. It's kind of like the Disney effect, like where they just put singing into everything and it's like a little bit more magical. But yeah, as far as the characters, I feel like they focus a lot more on Dorothy in the movie. and kind of just put all the characters like in the rest of the characters in the back seat, which is different than the novel. I feel like everyone's kind of equally like, okay, we're gonna get through this together, guys. But yeah, so there was I can't really like choose one clip to like show that like difference, but like any musical number that you see in the movie, that was like the main difference. It just kind of like shifted the tone of what was going on in the scene. Um but yeah, I liked it. It was so I had seen Wizard of Oz when I was younger, and then watching it again, and with reading the novel first, I was like, oh, I'm seeing it totally differently. But other than that, it was good. 10 out of 10. Recommend the book more than the movie, as of most things. But thank you.